And welcome back to Sunday Square Off. Last week's show made a swift impact. I interviewed David Lujan, a leader of the educator-backed ballot initiative that would boost income taxes on the wealthy to pay for schools. I asked Lujan why the initiative would give school staff veto power over how the money was spent. He initially denied that.
So this will give teachers and support staff input, not veto power. They'll be working
Again, I said this before to Joe Thomas, but that language is pretty strong. They must approve, and it says.
I think that that language is already in, that's how many school districts are already operating in terms of this collaborative agreement and making sure you're getting that teacher.
That's a kind of collective bargaining agreement without calling it that, isn't it?
Well, I was on a school board, Phoenix Union, for 8 years, and we had that working relationship for many years where we would get the feedback from teachers and support staff, and it works well.
Was it codified in law?
No.
No, but this codifies it in law.
Yes.
The initiative language did say school staff must approve how money from the new taxes would be spent. 24 hours after the interview, that language was removed from the initiative. Supporters need to gather more than 150,000 signatures in just 2 months to put the initiative on the November ballot. And we're going to look ahead right now to the fall elections. What comes next? First, some disclosures from either of you. Are you working with any gubernatorial candidates?
No,
MARSON?
I am. I'm representing David Garcia on the Democratic side.
David Garcia. Okay, we're going to talk about David Garcia. Before we get to the fall, though, here's my question. We're going to know by July or so exactly how much money, how much of the first 10% installment teachers are getting. There are still a lot of questions about that. The Ducey plan has kind of moved around on that. How big a problem could that be for Governor Ducey once that information comes out?
Well, it could be a big problem. I mean, obviously, he's made these big promises, 20 by 20. When people see the reality of what that means in their paycheck, they may recognize that what changed wasn't all that much and that, they're still struggling paycheck to paycheck to survive. And, you add that to the fact that we haven't finished the job, I think. We haven't finished the job in finding the additional resources that we need to fix our education funding system. I think Ducey is still has questions to answer. I mean, I think the number one question that voters this November have to ask themselves is, did we solve all of our education system problems in the past week? And does Governor Ducey and the Republican legislators, if they get reelected, have any incentive to fix those problems? I think the answer to that is no, which is why we need to have a change in leadership.
Okay, so how far can this carry Ducey? Just the day after he signed the budget, the Republican Governors Association is up with ads hailing this
Teachers are going to get a significant raise come July and August, right before primary season and right before election season on the November ballot. And I think they're going to get a significant raise. Maybe some are going to get 8% and some are going to get 12%. But there is going to be significant raises hitting paychecks that make a real difference. Yes, we haven't solved every problem in the world with this 20 by 2020, no doubt. But I'll tell you, this will go a long way. This is what teachers and the public have been clamoring for. Pay our teachers more money. And this gets more money into their pockets.
There were accusations Red for Ed is political. My feeling is everything is political on both sides. But in particular, to help Democratic candidate David Garcia, your guy, in the gubernatorial election. Does this help Garcia at all in the fall?
No. This takes away a huge talking point for my good friend Roy Herrera's campaign here. He wanted to, significantly boost teacher salaries. Well, the governor and the legislature have now done that in a bipartisan way, by the way.
So I'm going to disagree with that. I think the longer and more the education issue is in the forefront this November, the better it is for Democrats, including David Garcia. I think at the end of the day, voters are going to recognize just what the answer to those questions that I posed earlier is, which is that we have to do more, and the people that are in charge right now aren't going to do that more.
I think, first of all, Doug Ducey has done more. He pushed for a reauthorization of Prop 301. Who would have seen that coming 6 months ago? He then pushed for his 20 by 2020 program. Who would have seen that 6 months ago? He is reacting. He is now on the offense. He is putting more money into the classrooms, into teachers' pockets. Is it perfect?
I want to give Roy a
yet,
chance
but-
here because I want to get to the initiatives if we can.
So, I mean, that gets back to Bram's question, which is, the criticism has been that this is political. Of course it's political, and the reason it's been political is the reason why this change has occurred by Governor Ducey. He recognizes that he's in trouble, and he's got to change in order to stop that problem.
I'm shocked there's politics at the legislature.
Okay, real quick. So we now know there will be 2 initiatives on the ballot, the Prop 305 to repeal the voucher expansion of last year, and this new initiative that still needs to qualify, which would boost income taxes on the wealthy to create a dedicated funding stream for schools, which is what Red for Ed wants. Are those 2 initiatives a problem?
Well, it is a problem because
for the education
because I believe you'll be voting no on Prop 305. The education
people want to
vote
repeal
no.
the expansion
Repeal the
requires a no vote,
right? And then vote yes on raising taxes on the rich. So that's hard campaign. No here, yes here. That is going to be a problem, I think.
Ray, 10 seconds.
So I understand that, but I think,
Roy,
again, we've seen an extraordinary political participation by teachers in the last few weeks, people who have never been involved in politics before. I think that the standard of review, if you will, this November is going to be much higher because people want to do the right thing.
All right, great stuff. Barrett Marson, Roy Herrera, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.